What's up YouTube, it's Deadraw, and today I'm going to be starting my new series, which is my road to YCS. I do plan on attending a YCS under this format. I actually really enjoy this format. I love Sky Striker as a deck, and I love that you'd be playing so many mirrors. So I'm just really excited for it. And so what this series really goes to is I'm going to be giving you guys deck updates for the next few weeks, once a week. Letting you guys know the different builds I'm playing or the different builds I played at locals. So these will happen on Monday, Tuesdays after locals, and I'll tell you how things went. So with this build I'm playing, I actually got first place. I went undefeated. I went 4-0 in Swiss and then won top 4 in my final match. I actually only dropped 2 games all day. One of them was due to double Mind Crush, which was like I couldn't play out of. And then the other was just an OTK. He mind controlled my monster. I didn't have a response, unfortunately. And then he just OTK'd with Mech Knights. Nothing you can really do about that. But yeah, anyway, guys, we'll get into this deck profile. It's going to be a little bit lengthy. Sorry if the camera's a little bit dark. I'm recording this a little bit later than I had wished. But we're making do with what I have. But here we go. We're going to explain stuff as much as we can. And we're going to skip over cards that are pretty self-explanatory. But 3-Ray, one of the ones that is self-explanatory. She's the only Sky Striker main deck monster. She's the only one that exists, so we play 3 of her. Gets your engine going. Pretty self-explanatory there. 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. The guy who won YCS 200 in North America, I think, was only playing 2 Ash. I like Ash too much to play only 2, so Ash is super good. It negates way too many things. Especially sending from deck to the graveyard. I just love the fact that she stops that as well. Then we played 3 Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre right now is better than Droll in my opinion. And the reason it's better than Droll is that this actually nets you advantage, rather where Droll just stops their turn. Stopping their turn is good and allows you to play, bet a lot on your turn. But the thing is with Ogre, you can stop like a multi-roll in the mirror match, and that just nags your opponent so much, and stops them from like having a lot of plays. Sometimes it can even stop their engine if they have it. So this is better than Droll because it nags your opponent rather than stopping their turn. If you stop their turn, then the next turn they have, they're just going to do what they wanted to anyway. And since you're playing Sky Striker, you're probably not going to OTK them. I feel like if you have the OTK, you should just play, you can play Droll. If you don't have an OTK deck, then you probably should not play Droll. Yeah. And then we play the Gamma package. Gamma is absolutely amazing. When you play against Trickstars, they run Droll. Ironically enough, this stops that and it nags them from hand. So you stop their hand trap, and you make Omega. So they lose 2 cards from their hand because they lost the Ash Blossom, and then they lose 1 more card because Omega is going to be holding it hostage in the banish zone. And just like I like to save this as much as I can for my turn. So when I'm using engage or anything really, and they want to hand trap me, it stops it. Especially when you stop Ogre on multi-roll with this, it's just wow. Then we play 3 Engage because Engage is broken. It is Pot of Greed when there's 3 spells in graveyard. It's better than Pot of Greed when there's 3 spells in graveyard. It's just absolutely amazing. 3 Widowmaker, you need to run 3 of this. When you multi-roll them and 1 gets banished, 2 just ends up not being enough for the deck. If you don't have access to 3, then yeah, you can make it work with 2. But if you have access to 3, play 3. It's just too good. 2 multi-roll. For a while I was testing this at 3. I just found it to be a little bit too cloggy, but you know, I do like it. This card's absolutely amazing. Once again, self-explanatory. And then alongside those, that's Area 0. Pretty much the same explanation of multi-roll. You don't want to see this too much. It just gets a little bit too cloggy. I like it at 2. Plus, we play the terraforming, so search those out. Then we get into the one-offs. So, Eagle Booster, Afterburners, Jamming Waves, Shark Cannon, Hornet Drones. Eagle Booster is absolutely amazing. This tournament actually showed me how good this card is. It just almost guarantees your monster stays on the field unless they have like a Kaiju or like Layer of Darkness. Well, no, even this outs Layer of Darkness. So pretty much if they have a Kaiju, they can out your monster. But that would be the first thing. You usually activate this in response to something. I love this card. I'm probably going to be bumping it up to 2. Afterburners is self-explanatory. You can cut Jamming Waves. It's like neither here nor there. I like it because sometimes If you have the field spell, you can just set the field spell and start going off. It gets your engine going, but besides that, it's like whatever. The non-targeting monster thing is really good too. Short cannon, this allows you to make link plays. It's absolutely amazing. Being able to take like a link 2, link 3, make Bomber Dragon, or like just make Barrel Storage is just absolutely so good. And then Hornet Drones is self-explanatory once again. Um, 2 terraformings. This card is just absolutely amazing right now. Being able to put a spell in grave, and then bring your field spell out, like, yeah, I just love it. And then like if worst comes to worst, if you draw this and the field spell, you can just use the field spell to target this to duality from your deck. So yeah. 2 Called by the Grave. This card isn't necessary. It's just really for hand trap hate. I just want to have as much hand trap hate as possible. Plus, a lot of decks are actually starting to play Valor as the budget version of Impermanence. So if they hit Valor on Kagari, this like pretty hurts quite a bit. But if you play 2 Ego Boosters, I think this kind of, you don't need to play 2 of these. That's just kind of how it goes. Then 2 Space Typhoons, and the reasoning behind the Space Typhoons is they originally were Twin Twisters, but the thing is, with the field spell, I want to play as much like extension as possible and as many things that wasn't dead going first, because I think going first is probably the best thing to do since you already set up like so many negates. Even if you draw into your Widow Anchors, you play Impermanence and stuff like that. So I wanted to play something that was like universal. So I can use this to hit my own field spell to start my engine going, or I can just set it and use it to hit a floodgate. It's a 1-for-1, and then it puts a spell in graveyard. So like, I like it. I love it a lot. I don't think I would cut this, but who knows. Then we played 2 Foolish Boiled Goods and the Metal Force Fusion. 3 of this is too many. You just see it too much. You see 2 of them too much. You don't ever want to see 2 of this. I feel like I already see 2 of this with 2 cards already. So, and then Metal Force Fusion, pretty self-explanatory. It turns this into an upstart. I love like sending these 2 to the graveyard, and then you use one other card. Especially if you use the Area 0 to obtain Ray. So then all of a sudden your engage is live. That's like one of the big things. I have kind of something to show you guys after. Then we played 1 Rhoda. Searches you Ray, puts a spell in grave. Awesome. Then my 1 tech card, which was Card Destruction. This card was like so good for me all day. It was just always good, besides against BA, and I never saw it against them because I started it out game 2. It unbricks hands, which I already love. It can put Ray to graveyard, but better than that, it puts spells to the graveyard. More than likely, you're gonna have like, when you discard with this, you're gonna have 3 spells. You're at least discarding 2 spells on your with this, and then it's the 3rd one. If you have the engage in hand, then you set the engage, then play this, and then your engage is live. You start netting advantage right away, or you draw into your engage and you start netting advantage right away. It's just absolutely amazing. Pretty, like, I just love it. And then it sacks. It's just sacky too. And then the last 2 cards we played were 2 Impermanence. The set effect allows you to out things like Skill Drain, or things like Imperial Order or Anti-Spell Fragrance. It allows you to play the game. It's just way better. And then it's a hand trap as well. So now the extra deck. The extra deck, we played 3 Sky Striker Ace Kagari. Kagari is so good. I'm not going to go into explaining why this is good. This is so good. Okay. 3 Shizuku. 3's, you need to play 3. The grind. This deck doesn't like output a lot of damage, so the games do grind. Being able to search at end phase any other thing and clear your zone is super good. So I do love Shizuku. You do need to play 3. Then I played 3 Hayate, and this is what I'm going to explain to you guys a little bit. So sometimes when you have an engage in hand, the reason I play 3, so you can get around with 2. You can get around with playing 2, but the reason I play 3 is sometimes you have an engage in hand, and you have a way to get to your setting up 3 spells in grave like first turn right away. But the last thing you need to do is then Area 0. So you have multi-roll and Area 0 set up, and then you have 2 spells in graveyard. It could be any 2 spells. We're just gonna put for the sake of this video. And then you have at least 1 engage in hand. So a lot of people in this situation will just use their engage right away. But the thing is, you can start plussing right away if you send Area 0 to the graveyard first. Because you're obviously you have 3 spells in graveyard now. So what I like to do is send this to the graveyard, set up the 3, bring out Ray, and then we link into Hayate. Start using engage, start netting advantage. Then we link into Gagari to bring back our engage. So we just we got more cards than we would have. So it's like it's sort of wasteful, but that's why we're playing 3. I just feel like it's so good at 3 like that. Um, just being able to abuse engage a little bit more, because engage is the best card in the deck, next to Widow Anchor. So they're both the best cards in the deck. I don't know which one's better. So that's why I'm playing 3. Otherwise, you can play 2, but like even 3 is just super good, especially when so many people are playing cherries right now for the Kagari target. So this comes in clutch when you're playing when you get cherries. Um, Next is the Nightmare package. So we play 1 Cerberus, 1 Phoenix, 1 Unicorn. Probably cutting this. Widowmaker takes control, takes care of anything I want to take care of. Well, I would have wanted to take care of with this, so it doesn't really matter. Um, and then Phoenix is toolbox, Unicorn is toolbox. You need those. You need to play 1 Link 2 and 1 Link 3 at least. And then we played Bomber Dragon and Boral Sword. Bomber Dragon comes up enough with Hornet Drones that like you can activate, it's only 2+ effect monsters, which is like one of the main reasons I want to play this over like let's say like a Boral load. Being 2+ effect monsters, being able to make your unicorn and then make this is very strong. Or and then Boral Sword is so good. You just win when you summon it. You guys should know that. And then we played 1 Omega for the Gamma package. You need to play Omega. Yes, you can link off with them, but this just nets you way more advantage. Then we played 3 Artifact Lancia. So there's a couple reasons behind this, and one is like my local is just completely filled with invoked, and this card just completely stomps invoked. That's the main reason. Another thing in the matchup, when you do side these in, anything you set with multi-roll doesn't get banished, so you can use it without really a care in the world, and it just gets sent to the graveyard anyway because you Lancia'd that turn, which is stuff like your multi-roll, your Ego Booster, stuff like that. So that makes your matchup against that deck even better. You don't have to worry about it so much. This is just basically for my local. I do love Lancia though. Then we play 3 Mind Control. This card is absolutely nuts right now, especially with the amount of mirrors that you're going to be playing at this event. It's just so good. I just absolutely love it. And then like it has so many uses. Like you end up putting this in against like more than just a mirror. It baits so much. When people have negates on board, this forces the negate. It baits so many things. You know. Also, the fact that it gets rid of U-Links now because they can't end on goblins, so you can usually target their stuff. This really helps too. Then we sided 3 Twin Twisters. This card is good. Pretty self-explanatory. The one thing I love about it is that when you discard a spell with this to activate it, you already set up 2 spells in grave. So I do like this card a lot. And then you just easily side out your MSTs and put these in for when you're going second and just stuff like that. We played more back row hate. So we played 2 Hatred in the side. I feel like in the mirror match, this actually is just so good. A lot of times their only stops are going to be either Widowmakers or like if they have impermanence or anything like that set. And Hatred puts everything back to their hand, and then it kind of feels like you're going second. Or you're going first when you actually are gone second and you drew an extra card. So it kind of plays it like, hey, I just like completely advantaged you. Plus, if it's later in the game or they did the Widowmaker play first turn and set Widowmaker with the multi-roll, it just ends up being so good because you Hatred them, and then anything that was set with multi-roll then leaves the field and gets banished. So I do love this card. And then it's just good against Floodgate decks too. The reason I like it against Floodgates, you might say, well, why? They're continuous. They just respond to them. Well, if you see these 2 cards together, you activate them, you bait out their Floodgates, and then you get rid of the Floodgate. Or if you see MST, because you can keep your MSTs in over the Twin Twisters. It's just so good. So I just absolutely love it. Was never like bad. This actually won me a few games. 1 Hercules base. might cut this card. I would put it in for the side, but as long as you're playing the deck well, you should be able to out advantage your opponent without it, without having to reset your Kagaris. Big thing to note that you like want to keep your Sharp Cannon live, because if you keep Sharp Cannon live, you can keep using it to steal your opponent's Kagaris to link with, and then it's Kagari's just one she special summon you can add, so it's just really good. It doesn't have to be a link summon. Then the last 3 cards were Mind Crush. This card is just so good right now. Sorry about the camera bump there. This card's just so good right now. It wins you if you're going first. You just put in 3, and it pretty much is good against any deck. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's the deck profile. That's everything behind my thoughts and my theory of going into the game right now. I'll let you guys. I'll just explain my matchups real quick here. First round, I played Super Quantums. It was pretty easy. That deck's not as competitive right now as maybe it once was. I don't know if it ever really was, but it's not as good as it could be right now. And then round 2 is when I started playing more meta decks, which I played Dark Hero. It was a decent match. Honestly, it ended up being Mind Crush that won him 1 game. So it was the 1 game I dropped during Swiss. He drew double Mind Crush and then just Mind Crush to Gage. I just couldn't even play. So it was like whatever. And then round 3, I played Paleo. He went first. I always had a way to destroy Swap Frog with like Ogre or Gamma. And that just stopped him, and then I had like back row hate, so it just netted me so much more advantage that he just couldn't come back. He was essentially playing with like 1 card after I went second. So and then round 4 I played against Sky Striker Mir. I feel like I just have so much equipped for that matchup in the main deck that like that ends up being a pretty easy matchup. Then top 4 I played against Invoked, which was my second game loss of the day. I lost in game 2, I think it was. He just OTK'd me with Mech Knights. And I just, besides that, it was an easy matchup. I put these in, and they ended up doing nothing for me. I didn't even use them, so it didn't even matter. And then in finals, I played BA, which was like, once again, it was pretty easy matchup for me, I think. Like, I just always had the outs. I do think, like, I'm pretty good with this deck. So I always had the outs. I feel like I just always out-advantaged him, and he just couldn't keep up an advantage. I always had every reaction. So that's my matchups. That's how everything went down. I'll keep you guys updated. Next week, I'm definitely going to be switching up the deck build a little bit, and we'll go from there. Anyway, please comment, like, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. See ya.